The dating game. Hello, Annette. How are you? Annette Lakey. Well, let me start with, I think you should, there's a couple of places at the barracks. There's a place called Peasant that does Spanish food, and I love it. It's a really great atmosphere, and it's quite noisy, so it's good on a first date. You don't want one of those real quiet places because if the conversation's a bit, challenging, you don't want a really quiet place, do you?
No,
you don't.
Not,
you
no.
need.
But you don't want to be shouting.
No, you don't want to be shouting, but you don't want a real quiet place for a first date.
No,
because because things can be a bit awkward, etc., etc. Libertine, that's another great one up there at barracks. That's French Vietnamese. Echo is one of the best places in Brisbane for fine food. That's not a bad place to go, but it just depends on what you want to spend. El Centro down there by the river, that's a great place. But Ari is the one where you save up all year for.
Yeah,
that is very good.
Good views.
Or Chinatown, or go to Miss India. But yeah, that'd be the places I'd be thinking about. Peasant, because it's just enough noise, but not too much noise. And then
does it have good sangria?
I don't know.
Oh,
but they do tapas and stuff like that. But
nice.
you don't. I remember years ago going to what was it called? The very fancy restaurant. It's now called Moo Moo. What was the name of that restaurant? It's at the Heritage. It used to be at the Heritage Hotel.
No
anyway,
idea.
no, okay. It was a really quiet restaurant. There weren't a lot of tables in the room. When you walked in, you could hear everything. And it's a bit disconcerting, you know. Yeah. How are you, Annette?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Annette Lakey, family law specialist. This is quite an unsavoury one today, isn't it, this case?
It is. A bit sad.
Yeah.
It sort of highlights the balance of the court between rights of parents and rights of children, and the need for kids to have a relationship with both parents against the need to protect them from harm. It was a really difficult case. You could tell that the federal magistrate had some issues with it. But basically it was a case that happened in Alice Springs. Two Aboriginal couple who separated. They were together about a year. Two young kids, 3 and 2 at the time of the trial, but the second one was born after they separated, so had never met the father before. The father had a long criminal history, and he had been charged and convicted of 2 counts of rape against the woman. But in evidence, she said that he actually raped her many other times during the relationship. He assaulted her on many occasions, was controlling, had real issues with alcohol, mental illness, all those sorts of things. So it was all pretty bad. He's in jail until 2014 before he can get parole. And he was seeking orders that he be able to see the kids at the prison initially while he was in jail, and thereafter be able to have some initially supervised and then ultimately unsupervised time with the kids. But his main application was to see them at the prison so that he could get to know them by the time he got released, and also he wanted some photos and that type of thing. He also tried to restrain the mother from changing their kids' names, so getting rid of his surname, and he also wanted to stop her from leaving the Alice Springs area. So it was his application. The mother opposed his orders and basically sought orders that she have sole responsibility for the kids and that he has no contact with them whatsoever, and she didn't even support sending photos and things like that. So the decision for the court, as I said, was weighing up the rights of these kids to get to know their dad, as opposed to the need to protect them and also to protect their mother, because their mother actually, as you can understand, was suffering from, some sort of post-traumatic stress syndrome. She hadn't undergone much counselling. She'd even been suicidal at some point as well.
Many years of rape.
Well, over the 12 months that they were together, I think it was pretty much every week. So it was pretty horrendous.
So the children were probably a result of the rapes.
Possibly, yeah. So it was pretty horrific. This fella, the other issue with him, he had no insight into what he'd done. He tended to excuse everything he did. He had a really bad attitude towards women. Yeah, alcohol, smoking,
he didn't
drugs.
think he was raping her,
No, all of that sort of stuff.
Dreadful.
It was a really difficult case.
Okay, so what do you think the judge did? Did he say yes, that the man can have contact with his children? Telephone contact? I suppose he could say telephone contact but no physical contact. I don't know.
That was one option, or just to get the photos was another option.
Option, okay. Stop her from leaving town with the kids. He tried all of those things.
He did.
What do you think the judge did? 13-13-32. Ted, good
afternoon.
Good afternoon. We thought you'd ring in. Even you must, on this occasion, side with the woman, surely.
Well, I'm a result myself personally of Mum keeping me away from my father because he left home at 3 o'clock.
Right.
when I was 3 years of age, rather, and I know what it's like from the child's point of view not to have a relationship with a father. I've always taken the view that my relationship with my father had nothing to do with my relationship with my mother.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And I'm in a good mood because I'm going on a cruise on Saturday.
Are you?
Yeah.
Not one of my cruises, obviously.
No, wrong time
You've
of
snubbed
year.
me, okay.
But this is a hard one. From the kid's point of view, I think all children should have some sort of contact with the father. But, boy, this is a hard one. I think perhaps on this occasion the father should be well and truly supervised, or I don't know.
It's a tough one. Well, this is the most sensible you've ever been.
But from the child's point of view, I think the father should have. But I don't think the judge went that way. I think the judge would have thrown his case out and gone totally with the mum, if you want to.
Okay.
Yes, on that. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Ted.
No worries.
Good on you. Have a good cruise. Where are you going?
We're going up through the Whitsundays in the Cairns, where I'll get off the boat and go on a deep sea fishing
excellent.
boat. And I'm bringing the wife along.
Oh, very good.
Well, who else is going to keep the cabin clean, bring me breakfast in bed, and me drinks? I mean, you know.
Of course. Thank you, Ted.
Have fun.
Bye-bye. And no other calls, but, what happened? Ted reckons the judge would have... He was very logical then, wasn't he? And levelled.
Yeah, he was.
What happened?
Look, as I said, the judge found some difficulties in what he was going to decide, but ultimately he thought the risk of the contact was just too much for the children and also their mother. He basically said, look, there's no benefit of the prison visits if ultimately he's never going to have unsupervised visits with these children. And ultimately he decided that there was absolutely no benefit in these kids having an unsupervised relationship with their dad. There was just too much at risk. He just was, his behaviour was so unacceptable that it would just expose these kids to ongoing possible violence, anger, all those sorts of issues.
Had he shown any improvement in prison? Had he shown remorse?
No, that was the other problem. In that basically the counsellor who interviewed him said, look, this bloke's pretty much too far gone. He's not going to really be assisted through therapy. Long history is that of criminal convictions, assaulting police, all that sort of stuff. So the court said,
no remorse.
No remorse. Couldn't excuse his behaviour. Didn't think it was. He even pushed his dad, who's 80 years old and suffering from dementia, down onto the footpath because he was angry at him. He's a fellow who couldn't control his anger, and they said, look, even if they allowed the prison visits, what's the point? Because when he's out, the court didn't think it was appropriate for him to see his kids anyway. And what the court said, look, if there already was a relationship and if it was in their benefit, they would have allowed the prison visits. But given that they said that there should be no ongoing relationship, it was pointless having the prison visits. The court also refused orders in relation to photographs because, again, it would be of no benefit for the kids. It would only be a benefit to him.
Okay, a decision I think we all agree with.
I think it was a decision that had to be made.
Yes, all right, and that's Annette Lakey, family law specialist from Payne Lawyers. Thank you very much, Annette.
No worries, thanks, Peter.
And first consultation for 4BC listeners is free. 32212044. She cringes when I says that. Free.
And it looks like it was Ted's 60th birthday for his cruise, so happy birthday, Ted.
Oh, you changed the subject there. 32212044. First consultation for 4BC listeners free, and they do an outstanding job too. I'm telling you, very, very good at a job. She looked after me. I thought of another restaurant, Drift, on the river there. That used to be Oxley's.
Oh, there you
They're
go.
a sponsor of the station. That's a nice place because it's the river, the night time with the lights on.
Full of romantic destinations, aren't you, Peter?
Not
What's
really.
going on?